Good morning. Welcome to Slice of Light. I am Mahola and I can't wait to share the next half hour with you. Njengokuba nibona siselapha eBhayi, living up to its reputation as the windy city. Windy, but no less beautiful out here in Chelsea. We kickstart today's show on a musical note, courtesy of a man named 5E. En daarna, in Daily Slice ontmoet ons vir besigheidsvrou en ma, ons is Nolatando. And finally, we wrap it up with the second part of our series on prayer, Searchlight. In our Hidden Gems segment, we explore lesser-known treasures of music and art. In Season 1, we met an artist, a young organist, and a studio owner. Today, Howard's frustrated wife told him to get over himself. And so, he did, and produced an incredible debut album.
When Howard Farvey isn't making movies, his mind is pulsating with ideas for songs. He spoke to us about his formative years and the heart behind his new album, Late Nights in Heaven.
So I kind of got involved in making music from a young age. Probably like most people out there, like what you get exposed to is kind of what you get interested in. And I remember taking piano lessons at the Catholic school that I went to when I was growing up in Port Elizabeth with this old nun, this like sister. Named Sister Servatius, and she would sit next to me with a ruler, and if I like made a mistake, she'd be like hit me on the hand and be like, do it again, do your arpeggios. So that was like my introduction to music, but primarily my love for music came from my family, like my mom and my dad. My dad in particular, he's a guitarist and he sings in the shower, and he exposed us to all kinds of music growing up, me and my brothers. And so, yeah, I come from a musical family, and music has just always been around. So last year in November, I ended up releasing a full-length album that I self-produced here in this exact garage. I sat down and made a full-length album. But I can't take a lot of the credit because basically, I'm sure if you are a creative person or you enjoy making stuff, like me, you would have had a lot of ideas, right? Like notes and song ideas and poem ideas and all kinds of ideas. Like you're good at starting them, but you're bad at finishing them. That was like my story. On my computer behind me and on my phone, I've got probably about 1,000, if not more than that, of song ideas, voice notes. I would like be driving in the car and I'll record a melody for a song. Or I'll be walking down the road and I'll record a melody for a song. Or I'll be in church and I'll like literally walk out of the service and go to the back of the hall and be like, da, 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 da. Okay, got it. Put my phone back in and carry on worshiping or whatever. Like that was like happening for 10 years or so. So eventually after like multiple years, I've got this library of unfinished song ideas. They're seeds on my phone. And my wife just like said to me one day, listen, what good is that to anybody out there? Like nobody is able to listen to them. It's not blessing anybody. It's not affecting anything. So you're wasting your time. Like either finish a song or stop doing this completely, but don't be in the middle where you're just starting new songs all the time. And you know, like it's just not healthy. So my wife gave me an ultimatum and she was like, listen, just make a few songs for my birthday. At the time, that was 3 months away. And I sat down and I said, okay, cool. And I forbade myself from starting a new song. I was like, before I touch a new melody, I have to finish these existing ones. And that's what I did. I sat down and I started just completing a few of those ideas that I had on my phone. And it didn't take me 3 months. It ended up taking me more like 10 or 11 months. So finally, like in last year, December, I showed my wife the full album and I was like, it's done and dusted. And it was quite nerve-wracking. I mean, like you're sitting there and you've like had all these things in your head for so long, but like sit down and finally click like publish onto like Spotify. You know, it's a bit of a freaky experience, but it's the only way to do it. Otherwise, like I wouldn't be on Slice of Life doing an interview. The actual process of making the music, that happened in this garage. I knew how to play instruments and sing and stuff, but with the actual software and hardware, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I ended up getting a friend of mine involved, Josh Swan, to help me with the actual mixing and mastering process. I would drive across to his house in Kenilworth for the whole year, like once a week. Josh would help me just with the actual technical stuff, and I learned a lot along the way. So in the end, I sat back, and before I knew it, I had 13 songs. Like, actually, a lot of them were written specifically in that year. As soon as I finished the song, I realized it gave me energy to make the next one. And before I knew it, the album was done and dusted, and I took like the kind of artwork photograph myself, like just with the camera, this exact camera. I put it over there, and I took a photograph right here in this room, and I put it on Spotify. And before I knew it, people were loving it. It was actually amazing. Like, got like thousands of streams within the first few weeks. I think like 10,000 or 17,000 or something like that. And I submitted it to some guys in the UK, and they premiered it on their UK charts for like Christian music. It was on like their top charts, and that was really cool. It's awesome to have the work that you've done recognized by somebody that has no vested interest in your success at all. It's not like your mom being like, your music is really nice. It's like some random person from the UK who like doesn't need to like me or like my music, but they decided to feature it, and they really loved it, which was encouraging.
Underneath me, never to fall again.
So the songs themselves, they kind of came from a place of struggle and celebration, but often like a lot of kind of contemporary Christian music doesn't really address issues that like I go through, you know, like doubt and lust and fear and creation versus evolution, and like these are the kind of issues that like I think about and I want to find the answers to. And so I was like, cool, I'm gonna write those songs. So the one song is called You Are God and I Am Not, and that song kind of is all about the fact that God is just our master as well as our savior, but he's our boss ultimately, and like whatever he says, like we have to do. And I kind of wrote that as a bit of a kind of countercultural manifesto. And I felt it was from the Lord. There's one verse in there that says, like, even when I disagree, crucify this flesh in me. There's also a song on the album called The Fear of the Lord. Because I've always thought about that. I've been like, no one writes songs about the fear of God. We write about the love of God, like millions and millions of songs like that. But I was struggling to find a song about the fear of God. And so I wrote one. And in a nutshell, I was exploring with that idea. And I kind of came to the conclusion that it's like Everest. People who live for mountain climbing, they just want to climb up Everest. It's like their greatest love. But they know that Everest can kill them. Like, you don't mess around with Everest. And so that concept of like, it's the one thing you love the most, but it's also the thing you fear the most. That's kind of what I try to include in the song, The Fear of the Lord. It's like Lucy to Aslan, you know, and it's like a swimmer to the ocean, and it's like a climber to the mountain. Like you've got this relationship where you love this thing so much, but you also actually are afraid of it because of its power. My final words to anyone watching is, don't hold yourself back. Just get up there and start finishing something.
Stick around for Daily Slice after the break. Kudla ngokuthiwa silapha nje imithandazo kaMakhulu. Undende lethu olulandelayo sisinolthando lwazi kakuhle ngoMakhulu nikudole ukutya kwalo.
Juggling a demanding career with being a wife and mom is never easy. Nolatando spoke to Fix about family, prayer, and the joys of living in the Eastern Cape.
Sisibani ngicela usichazele mani ngokukhula kwakho ukhulele phi njalo njalo.
Mna ndi-binary, born and bred apha eBhayi. I've lived here all my life. Ifamily yami ilapha, eyam and the in-laws balapha. So ilula yonke into ilapha, isapoti silapha,
Let's go back to umakhulu ke ngoku ne. I know umakhulu wakho hey udlale indima enkulu as a prayer warrior like lana kuthakela ibutho lomthandazo. Khawuchazele ngomakhulu.
So I think mention ozalwa kwam ukhokho wam was alive also, so umakhulu kamamam ndimbiza sisi umamam. Yeah, so she was alive for the first 6 years of my life. Oh, wayendispoila ke. I was that child, if undilele, she used to sit in the room and literally watch me sleep. Wathi take over ke intombi yakhe umakhulu wam, passed away a few years ago at 94. Oh, umakhulu wam, she prays like sithandaza ebusuku, athandaza ekuseni. Sometimes yamva xa evukile ethandaza ekuseni and you would be like uphakama uguqe nawo. But along the way, uphinde ubiwe ubuthongo because the prayer is that long. Sunday, without fail, her house gets locked. Everyone goes to church. She was a straight talker. If it's not on, it's not on. She will tell you, and that's that whether you like it or not. But she tells you. I'm very close to that. Some friends will tell you 100%, but yeah.
Ukhule enkonzweni ukutixa indlu kusiwe enkonzweni but uChris zodibana naye as a teenager. Khawuchazela ngaloo nto leyo.
I think because generally most people bakhula in a Christian home, it's that thing, you wake up, you go to church, you don't ask, you get. I was involved with Sunday school, ekhaya singamawisile. So Anglican ndibana nayo xa ndiye phayana. So I've always been pretty much, and best friend ka tata wam at the time, he was heading up Youth for Christ. I visited and hey, got preacher, but you know when something just happens, like kind of like a shift.
After that experience, Nolatando's faith really deepened. Soon, she met future husband Odwa. He was already part of an inner-city church.
When we started dating, Odwa, he invited me. I think it already started to the St. John's. So he invited me. So already in brownie points with my parents, like, oh, this guy invites you to church. Even with Ubanda, pretty much now, I loved the time waye baptized. I think Karen at the time said, we've known you since you were in your mother's tummy, you know. So even now, he thoroughly enjoys a Sunday school, one Bible so he'll be like, let's read the Bible today. I want to, who is that guy that was swallowed by the whale? I'm like, okay, I want to read that story.
But Nolu's life has also been marked by tragedy.
And then kweshembu wahlukana ke shembu kwaxolo waluza ke ubrother wakho ke na 20 kwenzeka.
Yes, okay. So brother wam, yeah, he had just come from besoluka ngo-July basically. So you can imagine wayesanxiba impahla zobukrwala. Wahamba wayetswarini, so he didn't come back. Boys, they do that. Omnye abuye ngo-2 ekuseni, omnye abuye ngo-4, tatam ubhuti. So kushiyeke yena. So uthi kufika iNorth, uthi but kuthi umbilini, ayona. But kungenonye izitshumo ezikababa etimer ingathi khona imali eyenzekileyo kulubaba lo masana. So webalisa ke ngoku. So he was like, uthe esizwe wambona uba ungqengqele phayana. I cannot imagine that trauma that he had to go and identify umntana wakhe. I don't remember if I've khona ixesha lakhe ndakhala more than earlier in my life.
Recently, an encounter at work reminded her of another deep loss.
I remember there was this young couple. They had lost their twins, stillborn. It was kangaka ndinga break it down because I think it just took me back. Before we had Ubanda, we were pregnant with twins. I think what hit me the most, I looked at them and I felt so. It was because Bona. I say fortunately for us because I was not further along that we've had to conduct a funeral. I think that would have just killed me, the picture of those 2 small coffins.
Through everything, she has always been supported by her wonderful mom.
Noba kwenzeka ntoni, I know my mother is, wakes up and sends you SMS. She's that type. Never forget God in your life. Always praise. I think my mother, she prays for me more than I pray for. She always say, umthandazo mntanam will never go out of fashion. Sikhule ngomthandazo, siphiliswa ngomthandazo. And it's funny. Even with my grandparents, I've always said, mininzi into ezigqithe kuzo because of imithandazo yabo, that we didn't even know that they were praying for us.
Mibini imibuzo yami eshekileyo ngoku and lukhumbuzile kuthela ngeBhayibhile. Kuthiwa ikhona into ongayivesi oyithandayo ekuphilisayo yeyiphi?
Romans 8, chapter 31. If God is for us, who can be against us? There's so many things ezenzekileyo ebomini bomntu. Bekhona lamaxesha and you're like thinking, sure, like ufinish mhlambi, kind of like God has deserted you, and okanye wonke umuntu nje ka-understand le nto yenzekayo. And time and again, God always shows himself.
When we come back, part 2 of our Searchlight series on prayer. At some point, we've all said something like this. Why must I pray? Die Here ken al klaar my gedagtes voor ek hulle dink. In part 2 of our segment on prayer, Dani answers just this question.
Hallo, baie welkom. Ek is Dani Matthee en vandag wil ek gesels oor die vraag: hoekom moet ons bid? Hoekom is gebed belangrik? Nou sê jy dalk vir my, sê Dani, maar die Bybel sê ons moet bid. Of moet ek nie bid omdat ek iets nodig het nie, omdat ek God se hulp met iets nodig het nie? Ja, dis alles goeie redes. Maar daar's ook 'n ander rede waarom jy moet bid. Kom, ek gaan dit vir jou gee. En ek hoop jou ore is gespits. Ek hoop jy luister baie mooi. Want die groot rede waarom God wil hê ek en jy moet bid, is omdat God 'n verhouding met ons wil hê. Ja, God wil 'n verhouding met jou en my hê, want God is 'n God van verhoudings. Van die begin af, toe God die mens gemaak het vir Adam en Eva, het hy in 'n verhouding met hulle geleef. Daar in die paradys in die tuin van Eden, het hy saam met hulle gestap, hy het met hulle gesels. Want God het die mens geskep om in 'n verhouding met hom te staan, en God het jou gemaak om in 'n verhouding met hom te staan. En toe die sonde gekom het, en die sonde daai verhouding kom vernietig het Jesus gekom om dit te kom herstel. En ons lees in die Bybel dat toe Jesus sy laaste asem uitblaas, het die voorhangsel in die tempel van bo na onder middeldeur geskeur. En die rede waarom dit so belangrik is die voorhangsel was die skeiding tussen waar God is in die heiligdom, in die allerheiligste, en die mense, die sondaars. Jy sien, maar toe daai voorhangsel skeur, is daai skeiding verwyder, want Jesus Christus se dood het daardie skeiding weggevat. Nou kan ons weer in 'n verhouding met God leef. En daarom wil God hê moet ons bid. Want as 'n mens in 'n verhouding met iemand leef, dan praat jy met daardie persoon. Miskien voel jy vandag, maar ek is nie goed genoeg nie. Hoekom sal God 'n verhouding met my wil hê? Ek het sonde in my lewe, ek het droog gemaak in my lewe. Ja, jy is goed genoeg. Ook vir jou het God lief. In Psalm 139, daar skryf Dawid hoe goed God ons ken. Selfs voordat ons gebore was, het God ons al geken. En dan sê hy in vers 17 van Psalm 139, hoe wonderlik is u gedagtes oor my, o God. En Sefanja 3 vers 17, daar staan, die Here jubel en juig oor jou. Die Here is stil tevrede oor jou. God is opgewonde oor jou. En Petrus skryf in 1 Petrus 2 vers 9, hy sê, ons is die uitverkore volk van God, ons is die koninklike priesterdom, die volk wat vir God afgesonder is. Ek hoop jy kom agter dat jy vir God belangrik is, en dat God regtig 'n verhouding met jou wil hê. Ek het 'n klein seentjie van 3 jaar oud, en hy is mal daaroor om partykeer net op sy pa se skoot te kom sit, veral as ek agter die lesenaar sit te werk, dan kom klim hy op my skoot en dan gesels hy met my, dan help hy en dan sê hy vir my ook, hy werk. En nou die dag toe kom klim hy op my skoot en hy vat die mikrofoon wat hier in my studeerkamer is en hy trek hom so nader en hy sê, toets toets 1 2 3, toets toets 1 2 3 en ek wil hom sommer opvreet van liefde want dit is so lekker as my seun, as my kinders met my gesels, met my kommunikeer omdat ek lief is vir hulle. Want as mens lief is vir iemand en jy het 'n verhouding met iemand, dan praat jy met hulle. Daarom wil God hê jy moet met hom praat in gebed, want hy is so oneindig lief vir jou. Ek onthou toe ek my vrou ontmoet het, ons het 'n afspraak gemaak, ons eerste date, en ons het mekaar ontmoet by 'n coffee shop hier in Port Elizabeth. En ons het mekaar 5 uur gekry net na toe sy van die werk afkom. En ons het net koffie gedrink en gesels. En toe ons weer kon kry, toe dit 9 uur die aand. Want ons het so lekker gesels, ons het so lekker geklik. Ons het net alles met mekaar gedeel. God wil hê jy moet net jou hart met hom deel. En as jy dit doen, dan gaan hy sy hart met jou begin deel. Kom ons doen gou-gou 'n eksperiment. Ek gaan tot 3 tel. En as ek tot 3 tel, dan trek jy jou asem in so diep as wat jy kan en jy hou jou asem daar. Jy blaas nie uit nie, jy hou net jou asem op. En dan kyk ons hoe lank ons asems kan ophou. Is jy gereed? 1 2 3 en Okay, hou jy nog uit? Goed, dis 85 minute later. Ek hoop jy kan nog jou asem ophou soos ek. Nee, ek jok, ek het my asem lankal uitgeblaas. Want mens kan nie jou asem vir langer as 1 minuut, dalk as jy baie goed is, 2 minute lank ophou nie. Want jy het die suurstof nodig. Sonder daai suurstof gaan jy dood. Sonder suurstof sterf 'n mens. En gebed is ons geestelike asemhaling. Dis ons geestelike suurstof. Daarsonder sterf jy verhouding met God. Daarsonder kan jy nie 'n verhouding met God hê nie. Maar met gebed groei jou verhouding. En dit is wat God wil hê. Daarom wil God hê jy moet bid, jy moet met hom praat in gebed. So daarmee wil ek jou vandag laat. Onthou om elke dag met God te praat, want hy is so oneindig lief vir jou. Hy gee soveel vir jou om. Jy is so na aan sy hart. Gesels met hom in gebed. Totsiens, vrede vir jou. Mooi bly.
It's almost time for me to go. But before I do, remember to go check out our Facebook page where you'll find bonus content for today's episode. Have a magical weekend. Uxolo Nkosi, malihlale nathi.